Dave Scott, Hub Media. Today I'm joined by Lill from a team lead for Mental Health Promotions Education's Canadian Mental Health Association for Brant, Holloman, Norfolk. It's great to see you. How are you?
I'm good. We're gearing up for Mental Health Week, and it's a busy time, but I love to be busy.
And that's May 2nd to May 8th, right?
May 2nd to May 8th.
And I believe the hashtag is Get Real, and the theme is empathy. How am I doing so far?
Have empathy. You're doing great.
I love that word, but I think sometimes folks don't really understand the meaning of it. Could you help us out today and maybe give us your explanation?
Sure. Well, one of the reasons CMHA National chose this theme this year is because, clearly Canadians are lacking empathy or have forgotten how to utilize empathy in their day-to-day interactions. I mean, we've got anti this and anti that, and there's just so much divisiveness going on in our world right now. So it's very timely and apropos that we're choosing this theme, Have Empathy, this year. So empathy is basically putting yourself in other people's shoes and trying to understand their point of view and their beliefs and their behavior and their rationale for their viewpoints. I mean, we don't have to agree with that, what everyone is thinking, or, it could be opposed to our values and our beliefs and all that. But empathy is about trying to understand why people are feeling the way that they are or having viewpoints that they're having.
And it's incredible when you think about, and I hate to use it, but all we've been through in the last couple of years, I think we might have lost a little bit of empathy.
Absolutely.
The understanding of it. Absolutely. And I always think, it was one of my grandmothers, my grandfather, don't judge a book by its cover.
Right.
All those things were actually little sayings about empathy, really, when you think about it,
yes,
right? Walk a mile in someone else's shoes,
exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And I think maybe folks need to, I totally agree with you. And I read, there's some really great articles you have on your website. And the one that really caught my attention was just about people. It was, I don't know how to describe it, but it was the context that the lady had put it in really made a lot of sense to me. And it opened up that avenue for having a conversation. And I think it was the part where she said, don't be so quick to advise, just listen.
Right.
And that was the key word right there, I thought, listen.
Right.
We've forgotten how to listen, haven't we?
Absolutely. And, and that's very important because, when people come to us for help or assistance or even want that advice down the road, we feel that we have to solve their problems. We have to fix their problems. And the best way really to help a person is to just let them talk and listen and be quiet until they're ready to, get some advice or get some assistance in problem solving. But we're really forgetting that the key to helping anybody through any type of situation or issue is really to just step back and listen. And then eventually, when you need to provide some assistance or problem solve, then you have enough information to move forward. But it's really important to just listen. Yeah.
Do you think that's the critical component, Lill? Everybody just wants to be heard?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And, on many podcasts in the past, we have talked about that the pandemic is really taking its toll on us, and everyone is reacting differently. It's not the same for everyone, but the common denominator is that our mental health is being taxed, definitely. So people just want to be heard. How much longer is this pandemic going to last? Are things ever going back to normal? Am I ever going to get over this fear and anxiety that I'm going to contract COVID? And so people just need to be heard.
When people are listening, let's say if you're practicing empathy,
yes,
what are some of the signs that maybe you should take it to another step and get a hold of CMHA? Like, right. What would you look for to sort of say, well, I'm listening to this person, but I can see there's more going on here. How do I get them to talk to CMHA, or what should I be doing?
Right. So if the situation is really impacting all areas of the person's life and the situation is getting worse, like their mental health problems are getting worse instead of improving, and as I said, it's really trickling down to all areas of their life, maybe their family life, their home life, work, etc. This is kind of the red flag that you're going to need some additional support because you're not able to move past this, and a little bit of help could be helpful.
I like that this is a big step for Canadian mental health empathy, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk a bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, for the past couple of years since the pandemic started, we've had different themes, and it's kind of progressed into the empathy. Our theme when pandemic first hit was keep connected, right? Because we're all in lockdown and isolated. Then last year's theme was manage your emotions, because there was a trickle effect, and now we're getting through that and we're progressing, but empathy really is lacking. Everyone has just forgotten how to be a great Canadian as we are. I mean, not everyone. I mean, there's many of us that are still practicing empathy and understand it. But it has taken its toll on how we interact with people. Our empathy has definitely taken its toll, and we're really not understanding what people are going through. And it's time to, get that back on track and realize that we need to be the empathetic people that Canadians are known to be. So,
can you give us some, like I said about the articles on the website, which folks check them out, they're really great. But can you give us some examples of how people can maybe get back on that track a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, we've heard, as I mentioned previously, we've really, all we hear about right now is anti this and anti that and protest this and protest that, right? And there's some people that are resentful of what's going on and some people that are supportive of what's going on. And we need to remember that that's okay. That's okay. It is okay to have different viewpoints. We don't need to agree with everybody's viewpoints. You don't need to agree with mine. I don't need to agree with yours. But I can understand why you're feeling that way and accept that people's opinions and viewpoints are different. And that's okay. That's okay. And empathy is easy, right? Put yourself in other people's shoes. Realize why they're acting like this, why they're thinking like this, what may be going on in their lives, what's their situation. And it's super simple to just take a step back and try to understand what is going on with other people.
I want to talk for a second about that, because the correlation between what you and I talked about last year was anxiety and anger. Mm-hmm. So having some empathy fits right here now, right, at this time. That's perfect, because you got to break it down at some point. You got to, like you said, you've got to see the other side, sometimes the point of view. You don't have to agree with the folks.
Right.
That's not the point. One of the things, like you said earlier, this country's been based on is freedom of speech and having an opinion. My big thing too is always, when I talk to somebody, is think before you talk.
Right, right.
Before you say anything, right, on either side of the coin, think about what you're going to say and who that person is and how it might affect them.
Yes, absolutely.
And maybe when we do that a bit more, that's a form of empathy as well. Just think before you talk.
Absolutely. That's true.
And talk a little bit about this program. So it's all across the country. The websites are really great.
Yeah.
Can you give us more details on that?
Yeah. So the Mental Health Week website is mentalhealthweek.ca, and Mental Health Week is the national CMHA national initiatives. However, it has progressed locally as well, when there's many communities that have formed planning committees that are putting on a lot of local events. And Brant Haldeman Norfolk is no different. We have an awesome planning committee that is putting on events throughout Brant, Haldeman, Norfolk, and Six Nations. Specifically on May 2nd, we're having 2 kickoff events. One at the Kinsman Park Pavilion, I can't speak, at Port Dover on Hamilton Plank Road. And that's from 10 to 12. That's a community resource fair. We have community displays, we have giveaways, fun, lots of things. And then we're having a second one in Dunnville at Lions Park on Locke Street West, and that's going on from 3 to 5, and where everyone is welcome, and we hope everyone will come out and learn about community resources, get a chance to win some prizes, and also help us get the word out that mental health is incredibly important in our communities.
Is the event in Dunnville the same day?
Yes, it's the same day, but different time.
Okay, different times. Folks, that's lots of information right there. Is there anything else you want to add towards this campaign with empathy? I think it's great. I think it's wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, we just need to practice empathy and not forget that that's a very important part of our lives. Another thing I want to add is that we have a very active social media presence. And if anyone wants more information on what's going on during Mental Health Week locally, we have a Facebook page at CMHA Brant Haldeman Norfolk, and also another Facebook page specifically for Mental Health Week. That's Brant Haldeman Norfolk Mental Health Week. So please visit these pages.
And the hashtag Get Real, and get out there and support folks. It's important.
Get real, get loud.
Show some empathy.
Yeah, we're using both of them because they're both very important. So we couldn't decide which one we liked better, so we're using them both.
That's good though. That's wonderful. Sure. Yeah, and thanks for doing. I know you're busy. Your phone's dinging. You got to get back at it.
My apologies for that. I thought
no problem at all. It shows that you're in demand. Great. I love empathy. I think this is a wonderful talk today. I appreciate you taking the time, Lill. I know you're busy, so take care.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dave.